Hello, everyone. This is a continuation of O Believers Exposing the Fraud and Bringing Forth Remedy, Anna von Reitz, the webinar from May 9th, 2022. It's been a busy week. Announcement. Please pull back on participating in the vent-bake transactions where they have the money through the vet administration. They have had an upset in their leadership. They now require a power of attorney, which is completely wrong. I believe the new leadership is not a good person. They initiated leadership. No, wait a minute. They initiated the POA controlling who, what, and what of yours. Not necessary for participation in the program. If you were in the program prior to the power of attorney requirement, you're okay. Do not sign the POA. You're only giving your power away. So steer clear for now. My fraud sensor is going crazy. This is truly heartbreaking. Updates will follow. But please don't participate until the power of attorney situation is cleared up. All right, next topic we're going to be talking about is the military. Joint Chiefs of Staff, NATO, and the UN organization. They're trying to start World War III. Totally for profit, no regard for humanity. They are trying to recover their expenses from our public trust. We refuse and will no longer contribute to their criminality. Both are insane and have no moral compass. They profit by being defense contractors in these created wars. No wars with Russia. We have a treaty since 1858 that we have both honored. Michael Aquino, he was the Satanist general. He was caught in Ukraine and killed, by the way. So now Putin is clearing Ukraine and saving the Ukrainian people from the deep state, which President Zelensky is a part of. He was put in by the fake government and basically made bioweapon factories legal because they're illegal operating anywhere worldwide except in Ukraine. Zelensky legalized bioweapons in Ukraine. NATO equals Nazis. Using NATO as the brown shirts indoctrinates all people who are not readily accepted into society. Dissatisfied people, like the unemployment, veterans that weren't employed, LGBTQ. They're really on all levels of that. They use these people to establish power, and they would be his power for might. Hitler did the same thing. He then stabbed them in the back, had them arrested, and executed as soon as the military supported him. He had military round the brown shirts and murder them. They were no longer needed. Putin issued a worldwide letter, and the media is currently blocking. We are not here for conquest. We are cleaning up the mess. It's pure evil what's going on here. When they clean up the mess, they're going home. And that would be the reason why we have no intention of going to war with Russia, even though the narrative, they want war really bad. The deep state. They impersonate their enemies to affect public opinion. Done as actors. They appear on camera, creating the narrative that they desire, creating opinion from their play acting. And they're playing their enemy. Misdirection and fraud. That means, like, if they're against the Jews, they dress up as a Jew, go represent the Jew, go do everything as the Jew, and let people take opinion of everything that they have done as the Jew. Now, they're not doing anything good for the Jews. They want the Jews to be discredited or, whatever their play is on that day. But they're representing themselves as their enemy. Does stupid things like exploding uranium military shells across the Middle East. The pollution will last for decades, affecting humanity in several ways. These men are war criminals and are using our name to do these things and use our money to fund, acting as mercenaries and pirates using our names. We are not represented by them. We deny them completely. If these people ever gain power, gay and transvestite communities are in danger. The ones who participated in Antifa, BLM, etc. These are brown shirts. There's also brown shirts in Ukraine right now. So, I mean, it's not limited to the United States. It's really any place that Antifa, BLM, and those kinds of organizations represented themselves. They, the deep state, know who you are now and have been called upon to support the brown shirt effort. If past deeds of Hitler are repeated, you're no longer needed once their power is established. You will be the first on the train to the FEMA camps. These people are ruthless deceivers, liars, worship Satan. Quite a huge nest of them in our government. Most playing Democrats that are fascists, control junkies, want to know your ancestry, health history, DNA manipulation. There was a break in the system, and Alaska went down for just a little bit, and so Terry just started reviewing the articles that have been released this week, and maybe you'll take notice and read some of those. 3645, Public Notice to Generals 2.0. 3648, Public International Witness Required letter. Oh, wait a minute. Public International Witness Required. She wrote a letter to Cardinal Membarte. 3656, Notice to Generals 3.0. Letter notice to the Bank of England, J.P. Morgan, and the Board of Governors. 3660, Black Magic versus White Magic. There's some references in there to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. It is written by David Griffin. He claims to be the head of the Alpha Omega branch. And he believes that we should be fighting their black magic with white magic. Advocating using white magic to battle black magic. Anna didn't seem impressed. 3666, Demand for Delivery. Okay. This stems from a treaty signed by the Vatican and Mussolini. It's called the Lateran Treaty. It's in 1929. It's to make the Vatican an independent city-state. The Vatican then became responsible for all money brought in by the Roman Catholic Church. End result, the Vatican was now able to enslave all humanity by purchasing your babies born with a bond, by giving your birth weight in gold to the Queen. No one to see the books or use of the Vatican gold because independent city-state. Corrupted several organizational and family trusts entrusted to the Holy See. Now, the Holy See, they were entrusted with the trusts, but they did like a third-party transfer to the Vatican once it became an independent city-state, so that they could dump all of the administrative tasks on the Vatican. But they were only accountable to the Holy See. They weren't accountable to anybody else, anyone else, including the donor or the benefactors. So, they corrupted several organizational and family trusts entrusted to the Holy See. Appointed Holy See representatives replaced by Vatican agents. They were accountable to the Vatican, not accountable to anybody else except for the Holy See. They corrupted the National Trust, operated in breach of trust since the Vatican is not an eventual treaty member. Allowed to run wild, promoted war, criminality. Let me see here. Identity theft, unlawful coercion, breach of trust, impersonation, and fraud against a large portion of humanity. The Holy See has been found responsible. gross breach of trust, owes the donors and the beneficiaries because they handed their job over to administrators and agents without supervision, allowing massive fraud and corruption, war for profit. The Holy See is responsible 100% to pay these trusts back, all money misdirected. All right. So now, you remember the fraudster, the guy that he's calling himself Marcos, but he's really not Marcos? Well, he's claiming to own the 666 World Trust. Well, whenever his claim is refused, he just refiles again. But now they know a little bit more about him. And what do we know about him? We're going to come to that in just a little bit. All right. So, but just remember, Marcos, he's claiming to own the 666 World Trust. And he's just using the name Marcos. He is really no relation to Ferdinand Marcos. Now, let's talk about Ferdinand Marcos for a few minutes. He funded his own trust and foundation from the Davila Trust without authorization. Davila was used to fund the Nazis without authorization. Criminality by the central banks and the commercial banks. 2 frauds. Criminal commodity rigging and criminal criminal securitization schemes. This is how they're using other people's money without consent. So what is the solution to all this problem? We reboot the financial system through the International Trade Bank, return to asset-backed currency, using digital recording and transfer system that does not allow a cashless economy. We have authorized issued coinage and new asset-backed certificates to replace the Federal Reserve notes that are fraud. Demand all funds impounded and returned to donors, beneficiaries, and if unable to find donors or beneficiary, it would revert to the Federal Republic, the American people. Because that is what this trust is, the legacy trust. It's for the American people, and that's what they seized upon. All territorial municipal employees be made aware of their political status. We demand that they be taught that most federal laws do not apply to them and that they are not subject to statutory law. All fraud and piracy due to secondary administrators not be accountable. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I wrote that wrong. All fraud and piracy is due to third-party administrators. They started doing secondary administrators, third administrators, so that they would not be accountable. The Lieber Code made the military responsible for the money, and then they pawned it off on the municipal government. So see, they just do that and keep the ball rolling so that it's hard to trace different actions, different things that they've done with the money. But we've got Anna on our side, and it don't work like that. She's like a dog looking for a bone. All right, so the Holy See is the ultimate trustee. Third party accountable to the Holy See, but not accountable to the donor beneficiaries. The U.S. has treaty and constitution underwritten by the Holy See. Instead of honoring it, they hired a third-party administrator to avoid their responsibilities and to steal. And they've been collecting war reparations, all fraud and a con game. This past week, I've been tearing my hair out. That's Anna. Mike McGillon, CEO of Leader Technologies, misrepresenting my every word on the British. I have long said that the Brits were on the bottom of every dog pile. I have stated guilt of the Vatican, Queen, the Lord Mayor, and the Holy See. Criminal conspiracy and collusion to evade their responsibility of the Constitution, now operating as a bankrupt corporation together with all of their franchise, and they refuse to heal and do what they're supposed to do. Right now, they are expanding to make money off of the Ukraine war. It's gaining public awareness that fraud is evident. Look at the Constitution. Example, healthcare. It's not mentioned, and they have no authority at all. Joe Biden has no authority to mandate mass vaccines or etc. They have radically overstepped their authority. The territorial and the municipal governments have control over international and global jurisdictions only. Our states hold the national jurisdiction. Each state is a nation upon itself, complete with the land mass coordinates. All right, now talk about our courts. Our courts are a joke. May 1864, carpetbagger courts created to collect war reparations. Our courts are carpetbagger courts, self-interest moneymakers for the Queen. These are foreign courts, supposed to only operate in D.C., the 10 square miles only. No authority to operate anywhere in the country. Every single court in this country, unless they are in D.C., is illegal. We are having a depopulation of people through all this fraud these people are pulling. We need to get off the couch and reclaim our lives. We need to awaken from their fraud, reclaim our power and self-govern. They are stupid people who are power hungry and want to control the masses, profit regardless of the effect on humanity. We can do better. We can do a better job any day. So Americans, they want us to have a big stupid sign on our hat, accept their fraud and be happy about it. Example, they tried to restart the draft. We will not participate. We need to clean up our government and removing the foreign fraudsters. This week, this is a different subject, the bank, Wells Fargo, has been siphoning off the Black Eagle Trust. And the people that allowed it to be compromised, because really, they are the ones compromising it, is the U.S. Attorney General, J.P. Morgan, and Goldman Sachs. Securitization has been illegal since 1926. Asset coding. I'm not exactly sure how this fits in. I didn't miss it. I didn't understand it, I guess. But in this asset coding, the things that they're going through with the banks, especially whenever they're talking about the trusts and everything, whenever it goes through the asset coding, 333 is all land assets. 777 is all metal assets. Even numbers are blood money, and odd numbers are real money. So, I would love to get some paperwork and be able to check out what that means, but I really don't have a clue, so I'm going to leave it with you on that. Okay, now we're back to Marcos. You remember Marcos, the actor who he claims to be the beneficiary of the 666 Trust? Well, it's a big fraud, and he is an actor. His name is Alec Talong. He is a criminal and he is a fraudster, and he has 40 years worth of court paperwork to prove it. Now, he claims to be the beneficiary of the 666 Trust, but what is the 666 Trust? It's fiat money backed by your labor and time on earth. Illegal to securitize people as assets. So he thinks that he is eligible and beneficiary to the money that secures your labor and the time you have on earth. If we do not teach these frauds to our people, the deep state will continue to repeat on humanity. Spread the word. President Carter, from 1975 to 1976, set up a federal Department of Education. No authority in the Constitution. Congress never even challenged. People just accepted as authority without debate. Look where it has led today. But he had no authority. We just took the suggestion, then implemented it, and now we are getting the effect of it. And look at what they have done to our schools. All right, so all of these people are state-to-state contractors. The only thing that they're absolutely obligated to ensure is an enumerated power. And that enumerated power, they have 12, I think it's 19 things that they have to do for us that we've actually hired for us. But they only have one enumerated power, and that would be the natural trust. Broken every day. Breach of trust, fraud, criminality. The Queen, the Pope, and the Westminster, and the municipal and the territorial Congress. They're all guilty. And they have all given their power away to somebody else so that they had a third-party accessory administrator to make sure that we didn't find out, or somebody had to go looking for what the scoop was. Next step, what are we going to do? Motivate the military to realize soon no paycheck? Soon they think they can continue to make war and profit. The Constitution says that they have to protect Americans from enemies, foreign and domestic. War in Ukraine is not defending us. Closing our southern border would be an acceptable expense. All right, Goldman Sachs, the Federal Reserve, and the IRS moved to China. Now Chinese people's turn for fraud, same as in the U.S. We have notified entire world of our fraud. Hope they take notice. Parasites have eaten out the host, trying to escape. Use, abuse, and escape. They need arrested and tried for criminality, crimes against humanity. No one has noticed the fraud. No one has stood up and called them out till now. This is the reason that they have gotten away with it. Central banks, why were they created? They rate commodity prices, or they rig commodities. Commercial banks, they rate securities. Securities are illegal. International trade banks are the only viable banks left. Bar attorneys, no help to the people. They can't recognize a crime, period. They go to court every day, and there is problems with securitization of human flesh, barratry, personaging, identity theft. It's before them every day. They don't recognize crime against their clients. We are all fighting the good fight, doing everything to stop all this fraud and bust it wide open. Time to get off the couch, stand up, get educated, gain knowledge of our history and all frauds, self-govern, participate in your lawful government. The banking front. Wells Fargo incident that I described earlier is happening over the entire country and worldwide. Very hard to gain access to assets because they're all in trust. Trust's actual meaning is Latin, to slaughter, to kill ruthlessly. Only person who needs a trust is a dead man. You're making yourself and assets at risk. Your trustee can be bought off. Or your board of directors, depending on how big of a trust you have. The Queen, the Pope, the Lord Mayor need arrested and tried. You'll never get justice in their court system. A municipal court will never find a municipal corporation guilty. The courts are at the service of the state, which is the Queen and the Pope. Create our own courts. Stand up. Kick out the foreign usurpers. They have no authority outside D.C. Educate your kids, your neighbors, awaken the world. Bitcoin is fake money, going to disappear soon. Cash out before it disappears into the deep state's pockets. FDA. It's not in the Constitution. It's like the public health situation. That example. This is the same exact thing. It's not in the Constitution. They have no authority. FDA approves anything that benefits the foreign government, like our groceries being contaminated with non-food items. If they were working for us, would they allow wood shavings to be added to cereal? Be the employer, monitor and regulate. We are the only thing standing between you and those animals. We must protect our own interests. There is no one else. Because of you, we have come this far. We are making progress progressively. Everybody's land, money, assets has been stolen. We must fight for its return. Educate people and recruit friends, neighbors, family to join our republic government. Start with the truth. Suggest the American State National website to read of frauds and changing your status. We have to bring knowledge to the public. I have only good intentions and goodwill toward all Americans, but we will have to get down and dirty with these people, presenting their fraud publicly and not being silenced. It's time to represent ourselves. If we don't represent ourselves as Americans, they assume we are missing and that they can claim all our assets because of abandonment. Start informing your employees of your employer's status, the people you deal with in the foreign government on a daily basis. Donations in desperate need. We have had many international claims filed and are short of funds. Please donate money, stamps, documents, books, prayers, all donations accepted from the heart. Appreciated from the heart, sorry. Many people are leaving the U.S. because of arrest warrants. You do have to realize that everybody that you engage with the truth about what is going on in the United States and worldwide, that they all are going to go through the stages of awakening to the deep state actions. First they'll be shocked, then have anger, denial, resolve, acceptance, and then commitment. Be patient, but be vigilant. Inflation. It's going to be brutal if we don't do something. We'll have a permanent half-value loss on our country and our money. The deep state is planning on stealing it. The original fraud came from FDR. That's Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the greatest rat in history. And the reason why he's the greatest rat is he consolidated what the Federal Reserve done from 1913 to 1930. He bankrupted the U.S. government using false pretenses and false currency. They created a banknote, basically an IOU, arbitrarily, and acting as our government, the Republic government, created an exchange of these notes for our silver, worthless paper for actual asset. They bankrupted the country, enforcing the payout of these bonds. Federal Reserve notes are IOUs, so on the accounting ledgers, they are negative. Well, whenever you file bankruptcy and you are a shareholder, the shares of the bankrupt company are negative also. They come after the shareholder for payment. So we will still cover their debt from either one side or the other. We'll either get to cover it by giving up our silver to buy those useless notes, but then whenever they filed bankruptcy, they left us with all their debt and we had to pay it out of the federal fund. They have done this to us twice. We have to stop this. No other choice. We have to stand up and self-govern. Sorry about the ranting, but I have seen so much fraud and crookedness from the world. It's so outrageous that they have been so bold and ruthless. Even though they are evil, they continue to press. Even though they are evil, we need to continue to press forward. Go to your happy place. Do this for you and your family. Be focused on what you want and what you need America to be. No one can say that we acquiesced, been silent, or given up. We continue on our God-given mission. We need you all. Good night and God bless. Thank you so much. You have a nice night.